American and Friends built a ladder truck called a city service ladder truck. It's not an aerial, it's just all these bed with ladders. The longest one is 50 foot. And it takes about 8 men, 5 to 7 minutes to put that up. And it's heavy. And if it's got all the ice on you, I'll move it to another window. That's a job for stout-hearted people, I'll tell you. That thing is big and it's heavy and dangerous. And eventually on that one, I believe it's a carburetor died. They could not find a carburetor in the United States. Nothing was to it, Boston, all the wreck guys trying to find one. Made a chain on it, draped it down the wreck and tore it to a fire. That's all they could do. But in 1949, they replaced that old engine 1 with a brand new American and Friends, custom made by American and Friends. And we kept that until the 70s, Charlie?
Which one?
Engine 1, the American Friends. That left in 78. And that was the epitome next day. In 53, they bought a new engine 2, replaced that in 1929. That was the American and Friends. The engine 1 had a closed cab, engine 2 had an open cab. And they both pumped 500 gallons of water a minute, carried 500 gallons, 2,000 feet of hose. And in 1957, they bought a new ladder truck, an aerial ladder, 65-foot aerial. Now those 3 American and Friends were bought 49, 53, 57. The engines, you sit in the seat, the front wheels are behind you, the engine's behind that. They're basically World War II aircraft engines. Great, massive V12 engines. Pistons, 5 engines. And it's dual, everything is dual. There's 2 carburetors, 2 fuel pumps, 2 spark plugs, everything. That follows the World War II aircraft. You could run on both, left bank, right bank. They're quite machines. They love gasoline, they like oil.
Bill, can you tell us about this picture on the wall?
We're going to get to all those files.
Okay.
But I'm going to go on through a whole slew of them. In 1963, they bought Engine 3, which they formed a new company. That was an international 4-wheel drive. Now, presently, we have an Engine 1, an Engine 2, an Engine 3, an Engine 4, ladder 1, rescue truck. We've got a former military 4x4 4-wheel drive thing run out in the woods. There's a van and a boat on a trailer down there. Now, the thing that means a lot to me personally is the Milford Firemen's Relief Association. I've been involved with that for a number of years. That was started on March 18th, 1901. There was no, before we got hurt in a fire, there was no workman's comp, no town insurance, nothing. So they pulled together and decided they would do something for the fireman and or his family. Over the years, that has grown. First president, was Worcester L. Winslow. The vice president, Leon C. Hall. The clerk was James A. Brahaney. The treasurer was Fred A. Fowler. James A. Brahaney was the clerk. He had 2 sons. One was James Brahaney, and the other one was Cutie. That's what they called him Cutie. What was his real name?
Leo.
Leo. Yeah, Leo.
Leo was on engine 2. James, the son, he was the National Fire Department. And he's due to retire tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, let's say. So he's in charge of that last shift. Well, about 1 o'clock in the morning, he celebrated his departure in style. The clubhouse of the National Country Club. In 1905, the state of New Hampshire Firemen's Relief Association and the State Firemen's Association had their annual yearly meeting. It was in Milford. And they published a pamphlet, book, I believe it's up there, right, Louis?
Right.
There's only 2 in town. We have one at the historic side, there's one down the fire station. And that has a lot of the history of the fire department. and the association, and all these other towns. It's fun to look at. The functions, they take care of sick and injured and/or injured firemen, and pay for this, support this, by having the firemen's ball. It's now investments, and they're running a couple of breakfasts a year to raise money, because we've increased what we offer to the firefighters, excuse me. And so we have to raise some more cash. That's how we're doing it. We used to pay $5 a week if you're out sick, up to 5 weeks a year. But it was a real bad case. The board of directors would get together and talk it over to dance. But the IRS says we can't do that anymore. So now we've got it at $200 a week for 5 weeks per person per year if they need it. And we bought 2 life insurance policies. And the membership in the Firemen's Relief Association is a regular member who's also a member of the fire department. And honorary members, the fellow was in at least 10 years, and he wants to stay in, he pays his dues. He's not a member. A life member is somebody that put in 20 years or more. He doesn't have to pay dues. The dues are, the price of the dues a year are the price of a ball ticket. And they have one of the memorial plaques down in this East Milford Cemetery for Firemen's Relief. Go down there in June, Monday night, every year. I saw the notes I was looking at, 1907, they had a fireman's ball. It lasted till 3 a.m., there were 500 people there. And I'm not sure what they're up to this year, 112, 150 years old, fireman's ball. Now, in 1948, it was like a rebirth of the fire department, a renaissance. Fellows were back from World War II, wanted to join. They started buying new equipment. Big change. And anybody that's been there, or a citizen, should be downtrodden with that fire department. We're all describing people that they have to do. And we go to town meeting, most of the time we can get what we go for. Because you know, we don't ask for something unless we need it. You buy us new trucks, they're well taken care of, they're well trained on them, and they're maintained constantly. That's why they last so long. And we used to get a reputation in Milford. I wasn't there then, but anything new, Milford would get it. They'd come up to Milford, see, they hear about it in the fire magazines, and they want to come up. Milford's got one. Let's go see what they got. We had the first Scott Air Pass. Way around, towns all around. They're the first ones. Because a guy was wearing one, married on fire, found a lady under a bed, and the nursing home fire. So I'm pleased that way. And every truck has 2 or 3 the spare bottles. Then they built a cascade system, which carried one of the trucks to refill them right on the scene. Smoke ejector. It's a big fan. You put it in the window, pull the air in, blow the air out, change the air. I can remember when the fire chief in Nashville, was Chief Tangway, and his deputy came out to see Milford smoke ejector. They didn't have them. We did. Over the years, all the time, is that, oh, I must tell you, that engine 1, the first motorized one, when they changing over the town hall, they gave the historic side, a whole bunch of stuff had been in the vault, useless stuff. One is the purchase order for that first motorized fireman. Anybody that's 2 or 3 here from the fire department, anybody that knows, would read that and laugh. Those fire watts, and then they wanted extra reverse couplings on the back and on the sides. They want all the stuff they wanted added. And they still buy fire engines built it the same way. Reverse couplings, all the stuff. They still do that. Beautiful, ornate things signed by the fire watts and all works. They train hard and they're well taken care of. That's why I have a good fire department. Now, anybody have any questions? Now, get on to these fires. What I did, either I took them or my dad took them. And I go down to the fire station, I look up the old record books, and I get the high-tech data that's recorded in every fire. This one was Henry Curtis's barn fire in Upper Union Street. Basically, it's across the street from Mr. and Mrs. Sotero's.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
That was 10 April 1960. 1960. Box 53 came in at 4:08 p.m. That was a Sunday afternoon. The all-out was at 9:41 p.m. They were out in 5 hours and 33 minutes. Engines 1 and 2, and ladder 1 responded. Amos and Milford each sent one engine to neutral aid. Chief Al Muller was in charge. There was a large cow barn with the cows, and it almost got to the house, singed the house. Engine 2 pumped from the hydrant in front of the house, but engine 1 laid hose, reverse hose, back down the water hole, which we call the switch. Well, we do call the switch gone out. And Wilton Amos laid hose down. The Wilton truck sat in down and pumped back. They pumped water for 4 hours and 20 minutes. They used 4,250 feet with 2.5-inch hose, 500 feet of 1.5-inch hose. And this is the box of slides. That day was a Sunday afternoon. And in those days, the fire department would take all the fire engines and canvass the town, sell them tickets to find a ball to benefit the Firemen's Relief Association. The ladder was on the north side of the river, engine 2 was across there. National Street, engine 1 was south of the Elm. Then we later got engine 3, they divvied that with a big church, divvied it up. Well, I was at home. I was living on Summer Street then. And I heard the call. And I was out on the fire department. So I grabbed my cameras, I followed the ladder truck, because they were on my side of the river. And I stopped down the road. And I just get out of the camera, start taking pictures. I walked down the road. That's the house. And there's the barn. There goes the next one. If everybody sees something, you want to ask about something, just speak right up. Now that's 1953, American of France, engine 2. That fella right up there is Johnny Calderaro. You can tell. That's probably Buster Dutton with white sleeves. There's a ladder man. And one of those is Scott Gangwell. I'm not sure which. See, they're hooking up to the hydrant. That's probably Sotero's roof over there.
My goodness.
You still have the chains on.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the next one.
Whoa. Now look at that.
Now that barn is going. Who are these people? I've got a thought.
Comment?
What's that?
Can I make a comment?
You sure can.
About 15 minutes before that alarm came in for that fire, we were canvassing in that area with engine 1. We turned around and saw that barn in the driveway. And we were back on 4th Street when the alarm came in. That's what it looked like when we pulled up there. There wasn't a Christmas smoke there at all when we turned around.
Here's the hose coming up the driveway. He's got his helmet on backwards, so it reflects some of the heat. You can't see. Yes, you can. Okay. Is that Mrs. Roach? Probably. No, that's like hey, you see, they're pumping the water, they're letting the house down. See the steam coming off the house. They're not going to save the barn. Next one.
Next.
Next one.
He's got his helmet backwards, so he keeps some of the heat off. Now, who are these fellows? That's Al Muller right there. He's the vice, Al Muller. That's Arthur Johnson. Morgan Johnson's fellow. Arthur used to work part-time at Smith and Heel. I don't know who these are. The ladder company has a yellow spot on the top of their helmets. You can spot the rest of the sheet. See that? Heat is going. Boy, I go toward the house. See all the heat here on the ground. There's the barn door. Next.
Oh, wow.
It's really going now. It's a cement mixer.
Billy, did they get the cows out?
I believe most of them, right, Charlie?
Pardon?
They get the cows out?
Not all.
Yeah, some of them are in there. And I believe around at the back, they had a trough, a sluice way, to take the manure out. Something, wasn't all that smoke. Somebody ran around the back and didn't see it, walked right in and stopped. Rubber boots on, when you do, you take the next step, the boot stays behind, give it a suction. You're standing there like this. Till you get that leg back in the boot.
Can we see that again, Bill? I didn't get,
That's why you do it, have some fun. That's what I'm doing.
Boy.
And then try to flying off there. Go to the next one.
Bill, what started the fire?
I have no idea. Probably with April. When in doubt, they always say electrical. I have no idea. You, Charlie? I have no idea. It didn't say so on the report, but I was looking them up a couple weeks ago. That's what you call boiling right out of there. Go to the next one. Yeah, it's coming out this way, going out that way. This is full of fire. Now it's starting to go this way too. See the ventilator on the roof?
Yeah.
It's starting to tilt and twist. Heat right now. That's probably steam coming off the roof in the water.
Boy.
It's just boiling. And this is a type of asbestos. Asphalt siding, which holds it in. Well, it's somewhat protected. Go to the next one. Go to the next one.
That's good.
And now it's falling down, it's falling in. See the heat just rushing right out of there? One of the firewalks pulling hose. Next one. See where the heat singed and melted the asphalt siding on the house. And the next one. Now pretty well. Plenty of help around. One firewall, another firewall. The white sleeves indicates he's a captain of one of the companies. No, it's just beheaded. The water right to it. Plenty of pressure behind that stream. And go to the next one.
Look at it, it's just a tin roof.
See all kinds of hose in the ground. The next one. Soak it down. Next.
Oh my goodness.
You go to one of these, you just keep shooting film. Next. Red coat means that fellow's from Wilton, the Wilton Fire Department. These are red coats. See the streams of water.
Yeah.
Next one.
Nothing. Yeah.
Next one. And they're all knocked down. Next. I'm guessing that's Rolly spray. That might be Phil Brown. But you can tell the way they stand after a while, you know who they are. And at night, 2 in the morning, they're coming towards you. I know who's coming towards me. I can ask what you need. Tell the way he walks, the way he leads, or holds himself. You know who they are. Next one. Going down in the back. Next.
Oh,
Okay,
that's a good one.
that was on Sunday, the following Wednesday, before you. So somebody's got to work in the drugstore. Now Aldo, he can work. Okay, now the next one, we're not going to get. The next one I'm going to discuss is White Elephant Fire, number 1. I had 2. First one is number 1, it's box 53. The 19th of February, 1964, at 9:28 p.m. The all out was 12:05 a.m. Time in that call, 2 hours, 37 minutes. 3,750 feet at 2.5-inch holes, 350 feet at 1.5-inch holes, engine 1, engine 2, engine 3, ladder not responded. Amherst Wilton responded. We strongly felt this was arson, as the footprints led to the outside of the building. February, it's 9:28 at night. On the east side, going towards Nashville, kind of in the back, it dips down. And they came in from Nashville Street, went down to the outside of the building and set up. And we got there fast enough, so didn't really get in the building. They walked out the other way to Bridge Street and disappeared. You can see that in the snow. But due to the prompt response, and we had got that new engine 3 had 4-wheel drive. So they could go right through the snow and drive right up to it. And they had 1,000 gallons of water while you get the other hoses hooked up. And that was that. Now, White Elephant Fire, number 2. Now, the first one was 19th of February, 64, 9:28 p.m. And 19th of January, 23rd of January, 1966. A year and 11 months later, 9:24 p.m. instead of 9:28. And the all out was at 9:50 the next day in the morning. 24th of January. Time on the call, 12 hours, 26 minutes. Now, all these statistics are boring, but they're fun. 16,850 feet of 2.5-inch hose was used. 2,000 feet of 1.5-inch hose was used. In both of the amounts, if you add them together, they equal 3.6 miles of hose we used that night. And a 16-inch snowfall with the wind blowing. We had a 65-foot aerial from Milford. Nashville sent up an 85-foot aerial, plus a pumper to supply it. And they used one 35-foot wooden ladder and 2 24-foot ladders. They used 8 hydrants. There were 22 separate 2.5 hose lines on that fire. That's why there's 3.6 miles of hose. 22 various lines around that building. Milford had engine 1, engine 2, engine 3, ladder 1, plus mutual aid from 9 towns, with 14 pieces of fire apparatus from them. Amherst sent 2, Mount Vernon sent 2, Wilton sent 2, Greenville sent 1, Line Grove sent 1, Hollis sent 2, Nashville sent 2, Brookline sent 1, Merrimack sent 1, and I know Bedford and Peterborough were on call for the next call, for the next round. Now, we've got the scene set for this fire that's going to be here. It was a Sunday night during a 16-inch snowfall northeaster. And fire department policy was, in those days, on a big storm, one engine company and the ladder company stayed there all night until public works says all the roads are plowed, or it stopped, basically stay all night until they get the town cleaned up. That is because the firemen are at home and they get the call, they get in the car, they can't get out of their own driveway to where the town was filled up the end of their driveways. Big time loss, so they set up this way. And that particular happened to be engine 2's night. Engine 2 was down there with a ladder. And I got there around 7 o'clock. Figured I'd be there in the morning. And some fellows played cards, some shot pool, some watched TV, read magazines that are there, some bring reading. There's no bunks there. You sleep where you can find a place. On the floor, on a pool table, top of the hose bed in the trucks, you across the seat. That pool table came with big ornate chairs, 5 or 6 those. Somebody grabbed those. They stay in them all night before we get out. 9 p.m., the movie, The Hustler. Jack Gleason, Paul Newman starred. And that's about pool sharks, based on the life of Minnesota Fats, I believe. I want to watch that, so I sat in one of those big chairs. I'm ready. I finally came in at 9:24. At the end of that movie. Finally saw it at AMC. And communications called down and said there's some people putting a lot of smoke on National Street by the White Elephant. They quickly, 2 or 3 more calls. She kept calling down. The police checked it. Yeah, you got something. So I don't know who was in charge. Said, well, box 53, B2 company responded. Heavy smoke right across the street, and we got there. Just from here to there. And the ladder stopped in the middle of the building. We stopped at the hydrant by the filling station. And they had 2 lines of hose down the front, and they reversed it. They hose back, more hose, and laid from the fire down the corner of Clinton Street. That hydrant, because the Oval, South Street, down Clinton, and down Nashville are 12-inch mains. They're interconnected, so there's always 12 inches of water flowing. So you won't pull a line down and slap something in 20. That's why they went as far as Clinton rather than the end of high school. And by then, the rest of the fire department was getting their mutual aid calls are being made. People are coming. Hydrants all the way back to the old views. Pumpers had to cut holes in the ice. About a 2-foot by 2-foot hole in the ice to put the suction down there, and that takes time to do that. And then they can pump unlimited water supply in the river, of course. And one of those pictures, if it's there, I'm standing there with another guy holding on the nozzle, leading the water. He's there down cut the ice. And a policeman came along. He said to the fellow, 9, my God, look at the footprints. Yeah. He said, I went back to the police station to get my plaster of Paris, kept taking pressure. You better hurry. When he got back, there was nothing there but water. And no more snow in that yard. All melted. Nashville, when they got here, they set their ladder up at the end of the building, which is where the fencing there is. They've got weeds through it and all that, kind of protected that end of the building in the alley between that and Joe Fulgoni's house, which is only about, you go down there, I went and checked it today. The chain link fence, it goes down the end of that property on Cumberland Farm. It's about 20 feet from Joe Fulgoni's house. Call him Joe Dog. And saved that house. But he lost one window. We'll show you some pictures of this house. This is such a big fire. It was such a large building. It's like 5 stories on the back. It's a big, long photo of the building down there. It was plane manufactured, about 3 feet long. On the back side, that end is wood. It's 5 floors deep. Backside. And that is what you'd call the mother of all yard sales. And it was full of stuff you'd have a yard sale. 2 to 5 stories full. I mean, packed. There are many stories about it, but I can only relate to what I saw or what I did. And I can relate to some others that we can see, and I can do these slides. My dad took all these slides. He lived on Orchard Street. He heard the call, he grabbed his camera and 3 rolls of film. He went down Pleasant Street, Heaton Street, came across Swinging Bridge. That's the first slide he took of that fire. It didn't take him too long to get there. All these firefighters did a remarkable job containing this fire, save all the adjacent property. The black embers, all over town, especially on Prospect Hill and Federal Hill roofs. Public Works Department was equipped in the pump station went on to turn on their pumps to refill all the standpipes. They all 2 big standpipes, almost empty those. Even them filling. There was so much frozen hose the next morning, we dragged them behind, take them 5 to 50-foot lengths, put them in a bundle, tie a rope around, tie the back of the old truck and drag up this fire station, hang it up in the hose tower with a thaw and dry, run out and dry. And you got to sweep it, roll it, put it back on the racks for the next one. And then next morning, they sent us home in relays. I went home, had a shower, dry clothing back in the fire. And I believe 2 or 3 of the houses had Scotch paint. I'm not sure if it was this house, but across the street, the final wasn't Scotch. But this is just notes that I typed up after getting all the data out of the fire station. I wouldn't want to do it again. Glad I didn't miss it. But that's my father took that. If you get off the Swinging Bridge, he's walking up towards the White Elephant. White Elephant shop, you don't know, is where Cumberland Farms is. Went from the filling station to the old Cumberland Farms. That's what he saw coming up toward him. Okay, go ahead. Keep going. Now, that's out on National Street. The 2 little red globes, that might be the tail lights of the ladder truck. The next one. Now they're getting the ladder set up, put the aerial up, I believe. Right? Don? Can't see. He was there. These are wires. Go ahead. There's the 2 tail lights in the back of the truck, so you can see. There's the aerial going up.
That's part of show.
That would be, I believe, Dick and
Surprised when
Saldo
he
up
shot.
there,
Dick
correct? Right? They really get it up there now. And ladder's up to 65 feet. Really, that's about right about the middle of the building. Overlooking National Street. See the stream of water? You stand up there, there's 2 pedals that flip down. Put your feet on it, big foot and clamp on the ladder so you won't fall. Putting the water right into it.
Oh, that's the one.
Now, see these are wires here, right?
Yeah.
Just to the right of them by the ladder, you see those? Goes all the way up. That's because they put rope on the nozzle up at the top in case it gets too hot for a human being to stay up there. Takes it down the road, steer the nozzle, like pull the ropes. Because you put the water in, it drives the fire. All the water pump it turns to steam in seconds. Heat. Go ahead.
How hot would it be up there, Bill? Degrees of fire, the fire. Have any idea?
I have no idea.
No,
You know, Don?
just hot.
Real hot.
Just hot.
Oh, yeah.
Hotter than you want to know.
We have a sunburn.
Hotter than hot.
Stuart Fiesta come down. I think later did come down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have too much pressure there. It's going to change over one of the trucks.
You can see some of the buildings.
This fellow's running the ladder. My dad took all these, and he took them down many. We're trying to sort them out and put them in this carousel. We're in trouble. Which one's ahead of which one?
Yeah, again, you can see some of the buildings.
And that's down on the back side.
Wow. Look at that, isn't that something?
The fellow, he went inside the set when he went in. Or either here or here, went inside the set. So by the time we got going with the snowstorm, we didn't get noticed. that's built.
How many floors?
I believe it's 5 floors on the backside,
Yeah, 3 of them.
3 on the front, and down the end towards the first stage, like 2 stories.
Oh, wow.
Big
Now,
building.
Tori, that's the mother of all
Wow.
sales, right? Yard sales? Just chocolate full? Look at the 2 chairs up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like no those 2 chairs today on the south.
They could all see.
Boy.
Such a
That's the next morning. See, it's still believe. Come inside. See if you south. It'll surprise you. And this is all where the wood pile was. That's the brick towards the filling station. The rest is all collapsed.
God.
At one time, they sent Bobby Frazier and I up Joe Fulgoni's front door to the 2nd floor. A 2.5-inch line. We opened the window. We're putting it out across that 20-foot space. Well, the building starts doing the shimmy shammy, starts to sway a little, so they call us out of there. Nashville has been in between the end of the building and the house. They took off. Fellow Milford department, he was running, he slipped and fell in the water. He disappeared with so much water. Went out of sight, he was totally wet. He lived on Hagan Street, he just went home and changed his clothes. A while.
Gee whiz. Sales.
Went down. Somebody got in the water.
Yeah.
And there's his house. There's timbers laying on his porch. And one of these windows is broken. That's about it. And the insurance fixed the window. I believe they painted that in. This is happened. The building, there's no snow in his room. It all melted. That's a pretty darn good fire sale. Now I can see the half of the building leaned towards his house. The upper half tilted in. Finally, the upper half dropped. The second half, the bottom half, fell in on top of it. Sandwich.
I bet they were sleeping. I bet they were.
Saturday or Sunday morning. It was Saturday morning. And that's keep going, I'll see it. No, I want to say that's Teddy Matz's house on the corner of Union and Lincoln.
The green elevator, I don't know who the hell owned it.
The green
Is this the freight elevator?
Yeah.
Okay, that's freight elevator. That's Westmore, Lumbertown. Where now they have that big barn built. Big old-fashioned grain elevator there. Okay. Now the ladder's right down on the tracks.
Yeah.
That's grain elevator. That was a Saturday or Sunday morning, 5:30. These fires always happen 9:30 at night or 5:30 in the morning.
Or is that Maxi's?
No, it's too big. That's got to be,
Okay.
we forgot what order we put them in. That's got to be that.
Federal Hill Barn, on Johnson's Corner.
Johnson's Corner?
Where the realty used to live there.
Okay. That's Matson's barn. It's Teddy Matson's wife. That was on the corner of Lincoln and Union. Another early morning one. got a fog nozzle up there, you put a big patent on it, cool it down. Put more water in it, steam, spice it. Yeah, that's your history.
Yep, it sure is.
That's Matson's.
That's Mattson. Oh, yeah, for
That's a fire engine, it's from Wilson. See the barn, it's all destroyed, but the house next to it, saved.
And these were all set, Bill?
I'm not sure, this one, yeah, I'm looking close by.
Yeah, they have a little.
It's really hard through glass and good practice, see somebody with a match in their hand.
I think they moved.
They're lucky they didn't send it.
That's not.
That's on Sahegan Street, that's Ernest Durant's house. And I believe this is the, I know it's the second fire, this is his second fire, the first one was Friday night in the winter. Really after. Like there was, you could have a ramp to the swinging bridge.
Yeah.
See how weak this stream of water is?
Yeah.
I'm not injured too. We lay in the hydrant, we reverse lay down the hydrant at the end of Pleasant Street, run another line back, and no water pressure. The truck is down, they hooked up, suck water out of the main and pump it. Pulling the vacuum all the time. Get all the public works, no, they're all turned on, or the main out in front of the house was turned off. That's why there's not much water pressure out. So they laid hose from that house down the walkway to the swinging bridge, across the swinging bridge, sent the Wilton Ramos truck around where the home the elderly is now. And they pumped out of the river, pumped it across the swinging bridge and up to it. Milford and Wilton. Now you're getting water pressure.
Smoke or steam.
This is the Oscar Burns Park.
They know what caused that?
This one? No, the first fire was in the winter. Yeah, it was, I believe, the furnace malfunction.
Yeah.
Where Mr.
This is the second
McKay,
one?
Mr. McKay died there, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And HVAC.
That's taken from the house I lived on Myrtle Street. And that's looking towards the grain elevator by Milford. Now that's Burns.
Oh, look at that.
The railroad cars, the brakes block, Chet Hall managed Lumbertown. He went up the ladder on the side of that railroad car to release the brake and burned his hands. Because it was a steel iron wheel and too much heat in it.
Oh, I see the elevator there.
Yeah. Or no,
Got some good fires.
There were coal sheds all around that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Nice river.
Guess that's it.